I think we can kick it off now. Welcome everybody to our Franchise Hockey Manager 10 stream. I'm Jeff Riddles. I'm the producer of the Franchise Hockey Manager series. Normally we would have our community manager Adam here with me. He's feeling a little under the weather tonight, so he's not quite up to doing the amount of talking he would for a regular stream. This would be his week to stream. He was going to do a historical challenge with the Pittsburgh Pirates team from the 1920s. So I'm going to take that over for him this week, and then he'll go back to streaming next week, and we'll go from there. But he may come in a little later in the stream if he's feeling up to it and chime in there. So we may see him a little later on. We're streaming tonight in 3 different places on Steam, as well as the Out of the Park Developments and Franchise Hockey Manager channels on Twitch. It's without Adam around, it's a little difficult for me to keep track of all of those. So if you've got a question, the best place to ask it would be the OOTEP Developments channel on Twitch. I can watch that one. It's a little harder for me to keep track of the other two, unless Adam happens to come in which case I'm sure he'll get me caught up on whatever's going on in there. But what we were going to do here, I should give you a little update first. We're working on the first. We released the hotfix update last Friday to Franchise Hockey Manager 10 after the Tuesday release that fixed a few of the immediate problems. That seems to have worked pretty well. There hasn't been anything really earth-shattering come up in the last few days. So we're going ahead with our plan to release the next update, the first real full update, probably towards the end of next week, early in the week after that. And then the next update after that will be the usual pre-Christmas content update where we add some new features and other stuff to the game, in addition to fixing any problems that we come across between now and then. So that's roughly the schedule for the next month and a half or so. But getting on with this, we were going to do the Pittsburgh Pirates Historical Challenge. And yes, that's the Pirates, not the Penguins. Let me get that started here. And if you're not familiar with the game, one of the options for starting a new game is the historical challenges. We haven't done one of these on the stream in a while, I don't think. And you've got a list of various different teams and starting points for the years. What this does is starts you in a historical game at a particular point and gives you a set of conditions you've got to surpass in order to win the challenge, and you also get an achievement for it in the game as well as on Steam. The one I'm going to try tonight is the Pittsburgh Pirates Challenge. This is a 1925-26 NHL season, so let me get that set up. Start her up. That'll take a second there to get everything set up. It won't be too long because it's fairly early in history and doesn't need to do. There'll be a stage at the end here where it's generating stats for everything. If you start a game in, say, 2010, you're going to have 100-odd years worth of stats to compile and get set up to the 2010 level at the start of the game. So you will see it take a little while when you're doing something that late. In this case, it won't be too bad. See, it's going right through the team history, or at least it'll be there in a second, and here we are. Challenge mode, you'll see, is forced on because I'm doing a historical challenge, so there's a few restrictions on how I have to play it. Don't think I'm going to put my own name in here. Other than that, and where you can see it's forcing me to take over the Pirates. So we will try to pick some settings that are for the manager that are appropriate for the era, I think. Early 20s hockey. And yeah, I think that's reasonably realistic. Not what I would typically start with, but makes me look like an old-time coach. No facial hair, that's no good. Come on, there we go. Okay, so who are the Pittsburgh Pirates is the obvious question. The Penguins were Pittsburgh's first NHL team. In the early years of the NHL, this is 1925, the NHL had been formed 8 years earlier, and we'll get into that a little bit more when I'm planning on doing a multi-year, probably try to do the whole history of the Montreal Canadiens from 1909 to the present as part of my big streaming project this year for the game. And we'll get into a little bit more of the early history of the NHL at that point. But what's happened here is the NHL, after the first, 6 seasons without an American-based team, added the Boston Bruins in the season prior to this. And we're pretty happy with the results. They got decent crowds, and the Bruins were pretty bad, so the Canadian teams were able to beat up on them for a year, so figured, okay, we're making money off of this, and we've got kind of a weaker team to prey on, so that seems to have gone pretty well for us. We're going to add 2 more teams. The 2 teams, the one that got the most attention was the New York Americans. And they are, let me show you the staff screen, owned by a guy named Big Bill Dwyer, who is sort of a notorious bootlegger, sort of pseudo-organized crime figure. He's, have a look at his wiki page. He's a fascinating guy. And they had signed some fairly high-profile players, and there were pretty high expectations from them. They had what they had done was move the Hamilton team, who had gone on strike the previous season in the middle of the playoffs. So there was that was a big mess. The team got moved out of Hamilton. You can see Red Green, Shorty Green, and 2 brothers were sort of the ringleaders in the strike, and some of these other guys were involved. They brought in Joe Simpson from the Western League, who had been a fairly big star out there, and had put together what was supposed to be a pretty big, fairly impressive team built around Hamilton and these free agent signings. So they were the ones that were supposed to do well. It didn't really work out that way. Turned out this team, the one we're going to play, the Pittsburgh Pirates, did a little better. The Pirates were actually basically the Pittsburgh Yellow Jackets of the American Hockey Association, which was ostensibly an amateur league. This was like the 24-25 version of the Yellow Jackets. Has, I think it's 8 guys that were on the roster that you can see on the roster this team. Roy Werters, Lionel Conacher was there, Roger Smith, Herb Drury, Cotton was there, Baldy Cotton was there, Harold Dara, Duke McCurry, Hib Milks, and Tex White. So these are all guys who've been fairly successful, quote-unquote, amateur players. It's really debatable how amateur they were. Conacher was even at this age, he's only 24, but he's already a big name in Canadian sports. And the Leafs had tried to sign him at one point. I think Montreal had tried to sign him and even offered him a loan to set up a business in Montreal to come there. He had said no to those, so obviously he had some reason to go down to the States and play as an alleged amateur. Most likely he wound up going to school down there. I think most of the Canadian and the players, as you can see, Drury has got American citizenship. He actually played on a couple of the Olympic teams, but he was from Ontario originally as well. So all these Canadians are moving down. They've got jobs which they may or may not have needed to show up at, which were paying reasonably well. And were able to, I think they won the USAHA championship that year. If not, they were one of the top teams. So they've got the core of that team. They also bring in, if I sort by age here, you can see a few older guys. Louis Bielanquette, who, if you've played a National Hockey Association game, we had that this year, you'll see him on the Haleybury roster in the first season. He's 38 years old at this point. He's pretty much past it. Was out west for a few years, came back to play for the Montreal Maroons last year. Didn't really do much with them. And in the real NHL season in 25-26, he had played 30 games, didn't have a single point. So he was just playing probably very minimal minutes, I'd assume, and was basically done at this point. Odie Cleghorn, longtime Montreal Wanderers and Montreal Canadiens player, Hall of Famer, very impressive player, but at this point he's 33 and he's gone downhill pretty badly the last couple of years. So we'll try to get a season out of him. Don't know how well that's going to work. Alf Skinner, who's sort of a journeyman, he was a good player for Toronto in the early 20s. Bounced around a bit since then. And then so we've got these fairly moderately, well, they're well known. They're not that great as free agents. I think I have the Penguins or the Pirates players underrated a little bit here. May want to take a look at some of those, and I'll probably upgrade a couple of them for the in our upcoming update. But it's going to be fairly tough for us to win this season, but we'll try to do it. The goal of this challenge is just to win one playoff series. And the catch is you've only got 7 teams in the league. Only 3 of them are making the playoffs. So we've got to be number 3 or better to even have a chance of winning the challenge. The big advantages we've got are Roy Werters, who had been the Yellow Jackets goalie, tiny little guy, only 5'3", and you can see from this is his real NHL career. He came in, made a huge impact, had a great season in his first year, and stayed around. Stayed with the Pirates for a couple more years. Wound up going to New York, the Canadiens, then back to New York again. Oh no, that Canadiens game. I think that was just he was loaned for one game. They must have had a goalie injury or something like that, if I'm remembering right. But is basically the New York Americans goalie for most of their existence in the NHL. And one of the all-time greats in goal, despite being so small. The other guy we got is Lionel Conacher. I'll get started in a minute. I have to mention some of the things about Conacher because this guy is really larger than life. He's very young at this point. This is his first year as professional hockey. But he was hockey was maybe his 3rd best sport. He was a professional football player. He played for the Toronto Argonauts in I'm not sure if it was even the Argonauts at that point. He was playing for Toronto in the 1921 Grey Cup, the first East-West Grey Cup against a team from Western Canada. They beat Edmonton to win that. And very successful football player. That was his preferred sport. He'd also been a provincial champion, I think, in wrestling, and a national champion in boxing, or vice versa. He's in the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame as well. And he played at the end of this season that we're about to play here, 25-26. The end of the season, 1926, the summer of 26, he went to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Not the NHL team, it's the baseball team in the, in the International League, which at that time was AA league, which there wasn't any AAA in organized baseball then. So this was the next step down from the major leagues, and won a league championship with them that year. So this guy is just ridiculously good at sports. He's in the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame, and the award for Canadian Athlete of the Year that the Canadian Press gives out every year is named the Lionel Conacher Award. So, and he was also named in 1950 or 51. They named a Canadian Athlete of the Half Century. For some reason, they didn't name a Canadian Athlete of the second half century in 2000, but the Canadian Athlete of the first half century, 1900 to 1950, was Lionel Conacher. So he's our best player here. He's not the top player in the league, but the best we've got. I'm going to look and see if there's anybody we can shore up our roster with. So we've got here, looking on the free agent list. Well, we got some, looking at the sorting by potential. Lauren Chabot, Tiny Thompson were Hall of Fame goalies. Or Chabot Hall of Fame? Can't remember. Thompson is. But they've got a lot of potential, but at this point they're still very young. I'm going to grab a 3rd string goalie just in case, and I will probably go with Chabot. And he doesn't want very much. Salaries are obviously very low at this point. And now for other players, I want to grab a couple of guys to contribute. So Wally Elmer, who has had a couple of years out west. That's all he did. It seems like I've got him rated a little high, but whatever, I'm going to grab him. And you can see one of the new things we added this year in 10 is the contract quality. When you're making an offer to a guy, you can get a rough estimate as to whether or not you're overpaying. So this is average, and Okay, switches to great after the response, and okay, yeah, we're fine with that. So that's a good contract. Grab Elmer. Bernie Morris, a veteran who's sort of moved around. He was briefly with the Bruins last year, didn't really do much, had been a great player for Seattle in the West Coast League, but has declined quite a bit. He's 34 now. But I think I will squeeze out a little bit more, squeeze a little more hockey out of him this year. We'll try to get him. And maybe one more defenseman, another West Coast veteran, Lloyd Cook. So grabbing a few cast-offs in the Western League, and maybe I'll take one of the young players. You can see Ace Bailey, that's went on to become a Toronto Maple Leafs great. Potential seems a little low there. Murray Murdoch, who's a pretty good player for the Rangers. And yeah, it looks like those are the two of the best. Yeah, best options I can see there. Let's go with Bailey. AJ Duel's question in the chat. Yeah, I got the email. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. I'll get back to you probably later tonight or tomorrow. Okay, so I think that's the signings we want to make. I'll take a quick look just around the league at what we're competing with. Montreal Maroons, pretty good roster, a little thin, built around some key veterans. This is the Bruins' second year. They're getting a little bit better, but still not really competitive and don't have much in the way of goaltending. The Americans, as we mentioned, basically the old Hamilton team plus a few new guys. Should be fairly tough. The Ottawa Senators, very good team. Good goaltending, Frank Nyber, who's getting a little older but still productive at center. King Clancy hasn't moved over to the Leafs yet. Canadians are the defending champions, but what happened to them this year? Georges Vezina, in the first game of the season, he went into it not knowing he had tuberculosis, collapsed during the game, left the game, never played again in the NHL, and died shortly thereafter. He's on the roster of the team at the start of the year, but obviously he's not going to be doing that well for them. I haven't got a... Seems a little grim to arbitrarily remove him in mid-game like that, so he will play the season out. And Montreal, after losing him, kind of went into a collapse and had, I think it's one of the worst single-season collapses in NHL history. They went from being two-time champions to a winning percentage of about .320 this year. Just terrible. And the Toronto team, they're still St. Patrick's at this point. They're not the Leafs. Pretty decent roster. They will get a lot better. They've got a few young players. A couple of their key guys, Jack Adams, the future general manager in Detroit, coaching general manager in Detroit. And who's the other one? Dye is not young. I guess Adams is just the only older one. He's slowing down a little bit, and they don't have Babe Dye. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Dye had. Is this the point where he starts to decline? No, he's got. Yeah, okay, he starts going down a little bit. He had been a huge scorer in the first, in the early seasons of the league, and then you can see what happens in his career. He declines off to almost nothing in his last few years, and he's just sort of starting that process this year. So I will get going at this point, and I'm going to sim through this fairly quickly. I'm not going to be watching the individual games because we're going a little bit slow here. What do we got here? Okay, Thompson signs, Cook signs. Got to assign some numbers here. And we get Bailey as well. Yeah, 12, and should mention I'm playing in challenge mode, so see most of the options are locked up here. I am going to flip training on for the assistant and scouting just for the sake of getting through this quickly. Yeah, the rest is fine. The trading won't really matter much this season because this is just a one-season challenge. I just want to win the one playoff series. I'm done. Okay, we got Morris and Elmer. American Senators making a trade there. And there we go. A few trades. We'll just get around to the regular season. I think the budget, not going to put much into scouting. There's not really a whole lot of point in it. And don't really have to worry too much about long-term finances. And we're still in the preseason, so I'm going to hold off on morale spending until October. In fact, this is going to be a later starting year now that I think about it. Yeah, we don't have games until November, so we still got a couple of months to tear through here. There goes all of September. That'll go quick. Set the monthly budget again. Same thing for October. Chat question, good night. The Canucks tonight for Horvat's return. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm not exactly broken up about the way that trade has gone for us so far. And okay, we're into November. Going to be playing games for about half the month, so I will bump the morale spending up. We're doing okay money-wise. Okay, setting up the captains. Quick look at the mental ratings, prioritizing leadership and determination, and it's got to be Conacher. No real other. Whoops, wrong one. Finger slip there. Conacher, let's see, just brought in Cook. He's a veteran, so we'll give him one of the other ones, but Elmer's the other guy we brought in. I'm actually going to go with Drury. Drury actually played for the U.S. He was Canadian, but he went down and played for the U.S. Olympic teams in 20 and 24. He had dual citizenship and wound up with he's got a ridiculous record in the Olympics, something like 30 goals in 9 games. I think he's still near the top of the all-time goal scorers in Olympic hockey. Okay, see what the AI, let it do the roles. Who does it want to address? I'm going to send a few guys to the minors before the game. These are still the exhibition games, but don't want to. I want to get some of our regulars in. Cotton, seems like I've got him a little underrated too. So very quickly letting the AI create lines, basically 2-line hockey. You don't need to adjust the ice time in this situation. It'll sort of balance it out with the third partial line. It'll rotate players into that center spot as it needs them. Only 4 defensemen. Goalies looking good. Very quickly going through the tactics. Just to see what looks like the best fit. Strict positional does not seem like a good idea. Looks like, let's see, through center is totally neutral stretch. No, actually I'm going to go with the neutral setting. Take them up through center. Dump in, and some of these tactics are a little ahistorical. They wouldn't have been invented at this point. But yeah, we'll go with just dump and chase. Probably, you can see it's not a great team, the number of guys we're getting bad fits for. Yeah, not good. Probably have to put somebody behind the net. That will do. Just cycling through these and checking what, wow, no good options on the forecheck. Have to be a 1-1-3. Okay, left wing lock, 90 odd years before it really, or no, 60 odd years before it really appeared. Collapse to the net looks like the best option for defensive zone coverage and the power play breakout. I'm going to go with dump in just because it fits really well with Conacher. And spread there. Oh, actually 3 good fits on pursue aggressively. And the power play defense. Yeah, go for the 0-4. It's a little extreme, but should be fine. So you can see I'm not getting a ton of great fits here. The team is kind of thin, but I'll have to work around it. Collapse the net, fairly simple. Again, no great choices. I'll go with dump and retreat, the conservative one. Okay, let's try an exhibition game, see how we do here against the Bruins. And we get beat 3-0. That's not a good sign. Odie Claycorn's brother Sprague gets the 2nd star. Another one. Do we get any better results against Montreal? 3-1 win. Okay. Might make this work. Promising. And this will be against the Canadians again. Surprised we got 2 exhibition games against the same team. I'm going to give the backup 1 game. Thompson will probably not play at all this season for us, unless Waters gets hurt. And we take defending Cup champions. We get a win, and we take them to an overtime loss. This is the old school rule, so no points for the overtime loss if this had been the regular season. And season ticket numbers, you can see why Pittsburgh wasn't around that long. They only played 5 seasons in the league, and then 1 more in Philadelphia as the Quakers. But you're only selling 1,300, just shy of 1,400 season tickets here. We're going to have trouble filling the building. So I'm going to start the season out. We'll see how we're doing through the first 5 games or so before I make any radical moves, start trying to trade people. And we start, kick off the Pirates' existence, rather, with a 2-1 win over the Bruins. And Duke McCurry, who had been sort of a second liner with the Yellow Jackets team the year before, is the 1st star. Oh, the shots on goal columns. Oh, I got a few things cut off there. I have to make a note of that. But solid game through. A great, there's Conacher. 100 defensive game rating and 90 overall. How did we do on shots? Shot him 36-19. So, okay, I think we're maybe a little more competitive than I thought. Oh, wait, was that? Oh, that was the last exhibition game. Oh, no, 1 more exhibition game against Montreal again. Check that. 5 seems excessive for this year. We turned it down, and we beat Montreal 3-1 in the last exhibition. So we can win exhibition games. Let's see what happens. In the regular season. Okay, so Milks is slightly hurt, and guy we weren't going to use anyhow, Jack Smith, hurts himself during practice, apparently. Oh, wait, why have I got... Yeah, he's got McGuire in the lineup instead of Claycorn. That doesn't make sense, and Tex White should be in there as well. Wasn't paying enough attention to the rosters. Who comes out for White? Probably Cotton. And does that make sense? Yeah, that... Going to cut into the minutes. for the second pair because I want Conacher out there as much as possible. Oh, one thing I don't think I've mentioned much, we did make a change to the way player fatigue works in the early seasons. I think this one qualifies. Players generally don't have their fatigue design or decline as fast in these, so you get better player usage patterns. The top guys tend to play a much larger percentage of the minutes than they would in than they would in a standard game. And let's see, we're obviously not the favorites, although they're saying that we can be expected to challenge. It's a little surprising, but I'll take it. Oh, and roster cutdown time. Forgot that. Got to send one more guy down, and Bellingcat, who didn't do anything in real life, so we'll send him to the minors in this game. And the real season opener, franchise opener, and we lose it 4-1 to the Bruins. Not great, considering they had pretty bad goaltending. Milks is almost healthy again, one of the guys that came from the Blue Jackets. Now, we did well against the Canadians in the regular season. He's at 70%, so... Let's see, do I have any? Cleghorn can play center, so I'm going to swap him into the second line center spot and put Milks on the third line just for this one game. And it's closer, but we lose that one too, 3-2. Odie Cleghorn with both goals, though, playing on the second line. So maybe let's juggle those lines a little bit and give him a bit more playing time. See, Milks is 1.5. I'm going to just swap him for Skinner there. Scouting support, don't need to worry about it. It'll crank morale up, way up. These guys can stay in some really nice hotels on the road. Speaking of on the road, we are now in New York for one of the first NHL games in New York. Oh, Montreal lost Howie Morenz, so that makes them a little... oh, did we do that, I guess? Yeah, that was probably against us. Makes them a little easier to contend with. And you gotta love those early New York Americans uniforms with the stars and stripes look. And there we go. We finally got one. Overtime win, and Odie Cleghorn again, having a late career resurgence, has 3 points and is the first star, and we outshot him 40-34. Again, you guys, so that's them. Jesse Spring not doing that much. McCurry didn't play well. Conacher, very solid. That's good. Drury as well. Okay, not too many claims. How did Clay go? Clayborn only had a 60 game rating despite the 3 points, so he didn't play well defensively. That's dragged him down.
You need to play him better than Jeff.
Well, that's clearly your fault, Adam, somehow. How you doing?
Alive.
For now.
For now, anyways. Yeah. Yes, for now, anyways. So my apologies on the delay. So how's it been going so far? As he choosing to look.
Good exhibition season, 1 and 2 to start the year.
All right. Did you sign anybody?
Signed a couple of veteran guys from out west. Wally Elmer, who, from last with Victoria and WHL, and who was the other guy? Oh, Lloyd Cook. Who, did he go in the Hall of Fame? No, I don't think so. He's pretty close. That's where we got some playoff stats in the wrong column here. But pretty good player for the Vancouver Millionaires, and I think was on their cup team. Oh, and Tiny Thompson, who is eventually a Hall of Fame caliber goalie, but is right at the beginning of his career here.
No, yes.
So trying to even our record here at... I'm going to bump up Cleghorn to the first line.
Okay, serious question is that I don't know the answer to. Is the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball team older than the hockey team?
Oh, by far, yeah.
So
they were the... When did they move to Pittsburgh from Louisville? 1890s, I think. Could be wrong. Or was that a little later?
All
right. But yeah, older by at least 30 odd years, 20, 30 years.
Okay, so how did how did they end up using basically the same logo?
Is
That's a
that
better
the?
question.
Oh yeah, I guess that is, isn't it? Is that the one that the baseball Pirates were using around that era?
I mean, I don't know, but it's same color scheme. Okay, let's see here. I'm just checking their Wikipedia page. Professional baseball in Pittsburgh began in 1876. The Alleghenies. Oh, I didn't know this. Before the 1890 season, almost Allegheny's best players bolted to the Players League Pittsburgh Burgers.
There's a creative name.
That is an amazing name. Burger spelled Burghers.
Yeah, I'm gonna show one of the new things off here. I want to try and find a significantly better forward. So, actually, I want to. Well,
Okay,
probably prefer a
so
center, but go ahead.
uh, Pittsburgh actually had their team, and it was in 1912 that they started calling themselves the Pirates, or that it was kind of started getting occasional name Pirates in 1891, and then it was 1912 when it was on the uniforms. After 2 decades of mediocrity, they acquired several star players from the Louisville Colonels, slated to be eliminated when the National League contracted from 12 to 8 teams.
Oh, they. I thought they moved the team from Louisville. They just got the players. Okay.
The things we learn.
Okay, so what I'm doing here, this is the new trading needs screen. If anybody hasn't seen this yet, what I've done is set our active needs to pretty much any decent forward that's out there. Do we have nobody on the trading block matches our needs, unfortunately? So it's going to be tough finding anybody. Oh boy, yeah, you can see there's. The catch is I can try to go after some of these guys, but I've got nothing really to offer from them for them.
Yeah. So we're 1925. Okay, looking
Yep,
here. Pittsburgh at that time, the Pirates were actually using a blue color.
baseball pirates.
Baseball, yes.
I
Blue
wonder
and
if we
whitish.
can maybe grab Punch Broadbent, who'd been a big star for the Senators in the early seasons, and then kind of declined pretty. Let's see, yeah, well, he declined last year and they sent him to Montreal, or declined 2 years ago, shipped him to Montreal where he hadn't done much. Wonder if I can get him out of the Maroons.
Okay, so just continuing to look here. It wasn't until 1940 that they actually took the gold coloring. So that means that they took it from the hockey team. I like to think.
Or didn't they have, what about football? There, Pittsburgh.
That's a good.
Pittsburgh's been black and gold for a long time.
Well, how long have the Steelers been around? That's
Well, that's
great.
more complicated because the NFL's only been around for.
Well, I know. Okay,
But
Googling. Pittsburgh Steelers were founded July 8th, 1933.
hmm.
Okay.
I've actually got the Chris Kramer's book on NHL logos sitting in the other room. I should grab that, and I can see exactly. Or actually, man, I'm not even sure he has a. No, he does have a page about the Pirates. Probably goes into more detail about that. But okay, what do I need to get offer to get Broadbent out
Okay.
of?
Now, because I'm going to a Packers game this weekend, I have to go look. So the 19.
Okay, so I can cheat a little bit by offering Ace Bailey, so a lot of potential
Excuse me.
for Broadbent, who's over the hill, but I don't care about that because I just wouldn't want to win one playoff series this year. So I'll make that trade offer to Montreal. And oh, right, we got a bit of a problem here because our starting goalie, Warders, is hurt.
Uh-oh.
It's just a minor injury, fortunately. But Thompson's going to have to play one game for us. And Joe Miller, the backup. Oops. Oh, okay, we got I can send McGuire down to the minors. That gets us back under the roster.
Okay.
Back on the second line, and See how we do against Toronto. Their lovely
Okay,
green jerseys, and we lose four
I
to
take
one.
I take it back. I didn't know this. Did you know what the football team in Pittsburgh was originally called?
No idea.
The Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay, so we're not that original then.
Everybody called themselves the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's hilarious.
Pittsburgh have some history of piracy.
I don't know. I had no idea this. Yes.
Major port town. And we lose Mickey McGuire, who I sent to the minors. Ottawa grabs him on waivers, and Warders is almost healthy, so he should be ready to go in. Even if his fitness is a little low against.
It does look like though that the
Just what?
Pittsburgh Steelers first jersey was gold and black or yellow and black, or at least the first one they have listed on their website. I need somebody from Pittsburgh to explain this to me. How every single professional team was called the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, somebody started, and everybody else went with it, I guess.
Like that's crazy.
Juggle my lines around a little bit. Well, I've got so many guys set to sniper. Take a look at that in a minute. And Warders, despite, I don't know, he is at 100% fitness, so he's recovered. And we lose 1-0 to the Bruins. This is not off to a good start. And I send Miller down, he gets claimed by Toronto, so I've got to sign a third stringer just in case. And all the good ones have been signed. Abby Cox, the best alternative. Okay, there we go. We're going to get some help. The Maroons are going to take Ace Bailey, who will eventually be a Hall of Famer, but we don't care about that right now. We just want to win this year for the veteran Punch Broadbent.
All right, Iridescent 93 says baseball team got their name for stealing players from other teams.
Okay, that makes sense, sort of.
That's the most rational explanation I've heard.
Okay, hopefully Cox doesn't get claimed as well, and let's see whose game rating is looking a little low now. Cleghorn is down to 56 despite the good start. Skinner hasn't been doing much. He's one of the
I mean, I say
veterans
that,
started the
but
season with. And okay, let me set up the lines here. Oh wait, what's I wanted to look at the rolls. Go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, like I say that about Pittsburgh, but one of Winnipeg's first big teams that most people recognized was the Winnipeg Winnipegs. I mean, they had the Winnipeg Victorias, but Winnipeg Winnipegs was another team, and then even at that, like Winnipeg has a fascinating history with their sport team names. Did Jeff move his mic? We can barely hear him.
Sorry, I was probably leaning away from it a little bit. That any better?
Am I too loud? Better question.
Yeah, just change up a few of these rolls. I don't like what the AI has done with them.
I sound like I'm a little loud, so I'm going to turn myself down just a little bit.
Okay, am I better now?
I think, yeah, JL says yes. All right. No, did you know, again,
Okay,
because
not so heavy on the snipers anymore. Oh, Milk's
we are recording this live in November 15th, the Grey Cup, which is the Canadian Football League's
We're not talking about that.
to championship trophy. No. But the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are playing in it.
Yeah,
Did
we
you know
don't. That's what we're not talking about.
Hey,
The lines in the final.
Hey, no, that's not the point. My point was, did you know that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are the reason why the Toronto Blue Jays have their name?
How'd
I
that
think we might
happen?
have talked about this before. Because of because of beer.
Not they're named after Labatt's Blue.
Well, the Blue Bombers became that because of Labatt Blue, and then that all tied into ending up becoming the Toronto Blue Jays. There's a really fascinating turn on that whole thing. But yeah, it's all connected.
Okay, so mostly healthy. We got our new star player, and we're playing against his old team here. So you better do something here, Broadbent.
Here it is in 93. The team that
Cleghorn's back
became
down
the
to the third line.
Pirates also went 23 and 113 in 1890, being one of the worst teams in MLB history. So they sort of needed to. Yeah, fair enough.
And despite taking one of Montreal's best players and one of their other good players being injured, we still lose 5-3. This is not going well.
So how are you feeling about getting this trophy
I'm just
or
hoping we don't
achievement?
get fired by the end of the season.
Well, I mean, you can easily get another
Finally,
achievement
3
really
2
quick.
overtime win against the New York Americans. We're going to turn it around here, I'm sure of it. I go through these fairly quick. Toronto again. 6-1 win. See, we're rolling. And Broadbent, the new guy, gets 4 assists.
All right.
And we've climbed out of the basement there, past Montreal, who's, I guess in this game, George Vezina is still alive, but are they playing him? Or yeah, they're playing him. So he survives a few more months in this game. Whoops, who is hurt now? Whoops, that's not us. That is Montreal.
Now, did you download any mods for this game,
Oh
Jeff?
boy, nope, I haven't. Conacher is hurt day to day. You're gonna swap Ritz or his name Roger Smith in for one game, and we're probably not going to win this with Conacher out. No, 5-3 win. Prove me wrong. And nope, I haven't done any mods yet. But that, why, Adam? Was there a mod you wanted to mention?
I have no idea. I finally updated my mod for or my historical historical league logo pack is finally updated for the first time since FHM 7, 8, one of the two. So it's got added a bunch of new logos, some real, some remade, some I can't find any history on. So you get some more minor league logos.
I mean, you found some pretty surprising ones. In a sense, Smith
Yeah.
straight to the minors, off the injured list. And good. Conacher is healthy again. Somebody else down there has a minor injury. See, Bernie Morris, the second line. He's dehydrated. He's got 3 days to recover.
It's pretty funny seeing a picture and everybody's wearing a different jersey. It's just, it's solid win.
And 4-2 win over Ottawa, one of the better teams in the league. Who's in first place now? Oh, the Maroons are. Bit of a surprise. Considering they dumped Broadbent, who's now... Actually, we've got some scoring. We've guys in the top 10 in scoring. So we're getting goals, and Waters is... he's in the middle of the pack for goals against average. And player poll, we get the cleanest player, most underrated for Conacher, which seems unlikely because of how even at this point he's only 24, but he's already pretty well known. Oh, and Waters is the toughest goalie to beat in the league. And Hib Milks, our center, first line center, gets player of the month. We're gradually turning it around here. See if we can take advantage of the Canadians again. And a 4-0 shutout. Yeah, they were just rough this year. So we are kind of on track to win this now. Oh, was that one? Oh, Jesse Spring and, okay, Herb Drury and Spring are upset with each other, but I've got a captain's intervention here to try and fix, so can Conacher talk them down? I think he knocked that down one level. Oh, who's hurt now? Oh, great. Milks, just player of the month, is now injured. Can Skinner play center? No, he can't. Can Cotton? No, he can't. I will replace him with Skinner, but in the lineup, I'm going to put Cleghorn into that first line center spot. A couple of old Ottawa veterans Oh no, Cleghorn was Montreal. This is brother with us with Ottawa in first line, but we lose 3-2 to the Bruins. Their second year in the league, and they're actually doing pretty well, and they're in our playoff spot right now.
Excellent.
Trying to get this fairly quickly done quickly to get this fit into the hour. I talked a little too much at the start of the stream, just giving the history of how this team happened and who they were. Okay, Milk's back in the first line spot. And now we are playing the Senators. And we come out with another 2-1 win, so we're coming back towards 500. Oh boy, that's not good. Please don't let him be too hurt. Just sore groin day to day, so maybe he comes back in time for Oh, great. Now Milks is hurt. Sore shoulder out for 1 to 2 weeks, so he's got to go for Cotton this time, I think. And are we going to get... we're not going to get Broadbent back. I'm going to put Skinner in for Broadbent. Cleghorn on the first line. No, actually, no. I'm going to put Morris in the first line spot for this game. Bring up 2/3 of the second line, put them on the first line, and see what they do against the Bruins. The rare 0-0 tie. Wow, 0-0 tie, and the shots are 46-43, so great game.
Goals you're putting on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops, do we have a player back yet? Nope, still the same lineup we're going to have to go with again. And they didn't score much, but they didn't give up any goals, so try that again. The Americans beat us 4-3. So right now we are we're slightly better than the Bruins. We're 3 points behind the Americans, so we've got to close that playoff spot to get the achievement. We need to win one playoff series here. In real life, the Pirates did make the playoffs, but lost in the first round to the Maroons, if I remember correctly. All right, anybody back? Going too fast here. Broadbent is back. I didn't put Cleghorn. Whoops, no. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't move Cleghorn to center for that last time, so we got Toronto still finding their feet in this game, and we almost beat them, but 5-4 overtime loss. And this is a 20, so no points for losing in overtime. Broadbent fully healthy now is Milks. Nope, he's still day-to-day. Fully healthy, but he's only at 70% health, but we got to put him on the first line anyhow, because we can't really afford to have him out. And lose another one to the Maroons, so we're sinking rapidly here. And we still got about half the season to go. Do you want to pick this up? Should I rush through this, Adam, or do you want to maybe pick this up next week? And you can try to repair my damage in the second half?
Nah, just go. Go for it.
Okay. Well,
you can do it.
Milks is now healthy. Yeah, I'm really going to tear through these games, though, so won't have much time to fix anything. And 2-1 win over Montreal. Milks is ready to go. Whoops. Thought I fixed that. Oh. Yeah. Gonna have to redo the lines. I did something wrong here. Okay, in Toronto again. 17 leagues, so you're seeing a lot of the same teams over and over. And Toronto easily beats us 4-1. Future Leaf coach Hap Day getting 4 points. Oh, trading deadline. Well, let's see if anybody, if we can get another forward out of the, preferably off the shopping list. Nobody being shopped.
Time for a free agent pickup.
Best trading for, yeah, have a look at the free agent list. There ain't nothing there.
There ain't nothing there. That is some bad language there, Jeff.
That's some terrible language at him. But kind of matches our options because we got no good ones here. Now we got a few forwards climb up to 2 stars. Let's see. Is there anybody old we can grab that a reasonable price? Yeah, John Morrison from the Americans. Another Western League guy. Can I get him for very little?
Here's hoping.
I really don't want to cheat and use draft picks here. That's not fair.
Why not?
Well, it let me to give them Skinner for that. Oh yeah, no, okay. I'm not going to reach that. It's. I could try to trade. It's almost as bad as using a draft pick, but could offer them my backup, Thompson.
Do it.
Okay, they'll take it. I'm gonna have to sign another.
Gave away Tiny Thompson, a future Hall of Famer.
But it doesn't help us now, so I will sign another backup who does sign with us right away. Actually, I think he's rated pretty much the same as Cox was, so I'll just leave him in the backup spot. Morrison will come into the lineup. Let's see, probably McCurry going out. Durr's at 2 stars. White's been doing well, but yeah, Claycorn's a 55 game rating. He's just been declining too much. I'm going to put McCurry in instead of him. Okay, there's our mostly rebuilt third line. Oh, how many guys I got up? Gonna have to send Cotton, I guess, to the minors, and I suspect he's going to get grabbed on waivers.
Fingers crossed.
No, apparently not. Okay, let's just tear through these remaining games. If I get mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, we'll probably have to end it because it's kind of pointless at that point because I won't be able to get the achievement. But we beat Ottawa 7-5. And the Americans general manager already in trouble. So let's see if we can push them over the edge with a win here. And a 5-1 win. Okay. Okay, coming along. Oh, no. That's not good. Okay, Warder's just cut his chin. You don't miss games for that in this time period. Stitch him up, throw him back in. But we do lose 3-2 to Montreal. And Morrison, our new guy, gets involved in an off-ice incident, but the teammates are okay with it. Speaking of which, can I bump that? Get Conacher to push that. Then he knocks down the conflict between Spring and Drury, another point. Hopefully we can get rid of that. Warders is ready to play. And a 4-3 win over Montreal. With George Vezina, who's still alive at this point. in the game, although Montreal is dead last in the league now. You can see how badly they went downhill this year. And we're basically fighting the Maroons and St. Patrick's for that last playoff spot. St. Patrick's are doing a little bit better than they did historically. Need a win against Boston here. We don't get it. 2-1 loss. So Morrison first gets into an off-ice incident, and now he's injured for 2 weeks.
Awesome.
Great job. Montreal at least getting their stars locked up for another season. Let the AI shuffle the lines for this game, and we get a 6-4 win out of it against Pittsburgh. Punch Broadbent with the hat trick. Oh, there we go. We got a new, this is one of the new media events. First one we've seen in the stream, I think. So Duke McCurry, who's been okay-ish this season, is being criticized by the media. So, not so important I want to get into a thing with the media over him. So let's go with the sort of neutral response. And now we got Bernie Morris injured. First line center. Day-to-day with a foot contusion. Maybe he's back in time for tomorrow. Nope. Oops, I bumped the game off center there. Morris goes out, and Clayborn can just step into that spot for one game. See if he can redeem himself after getting benched. And it's a 2-1 loss to Toronto. Put Milks in for the first line for this one. And Montreal shuts us out 3-0. This is not looking great. Morris and Morrison are almost back, but not quite. Try Clayborn in the first line spot. We at least get Montreal to overtime. The Maroons to overtime, but it's another loss. Monthly budget. I've got the scouts on automatic. That can stay as it is because we've got to be spending money because these guys can't be happy at this point. Okay, redo the lines. Clayborn is out. Morris is in. And McCurry out. Morrison in. Yeah, I want to do Milks. Broadbent. No. Actually, no, we'll leave Dare on the first line. Yeah, we're just falling apart here. 12-18-1, 3-1 loss to Montreal. We are approaching the end of the year. I don't think we're getting this, Adam.
No? Well, that's no more disappointing than us with the St. Louis one last year. Getting destroyed in the opening round of the playoffs.
Beat Toronto 5-2. Save a little dignity here with a streak at the end. But no, Ottawa shuts us out 4-0. And some off-ice stuff going on in Montreal. And we take advantage of it. We get a point, but it's still not a great result against the last place team, although we're the second last. Be nice to get a win against the Bruins here, and we do in overtime. 3-2 win. So we're a little, the real Pirates finished a bit above 500 this season. I think 2 or 3 games above 500. I don't think we're going to match that, despite adding the new players. Ouch, 9-3 loss to Ottawa. And now the media is going after Hib Milks. Well, I'm not around for the long term, so I'm going to agree with that. He's probably not going to be happy because of it. And Lloyd Cook is has a corneal abrasion, out 1 to 2 weeks. So hopefully we got 3 defensemen injured at the moment. But we've got, oh no, that's the end of the season. It doesn't matter. So we have failed in the challenge. We missed the playoffs by 8 points.
Oof.
And even if we'd gotten in, I don't think we're getting by the Maroons for that second playoff spot. How did the players, or the, see, I'm still out of force of habit going to the old drop down for the stats when I got this nice new one here. Oh, Harold Dara, only 2 stars, but led us in scoring. Pretty good season from him. Broadbent was productive after we brought him back. Lloyd Cook, coming from off that, a few games with Boston last year, but has a good late career season. Conacher, very solid as expected. And the goalie numbers, Orders apparently got into 50, or Cameron got into 15, 1 game for 15 minutes relieving Orders. But Orders has his goals against average is up about 70 points from where it was in real life. So not quite as impressive from him. We probably needed to back him up a little bit, and we actually did. Not great. Let's just finish this up and see who wins the cup this year. I will not get the achievement or the win the challenge. Okay, so the first round, the 2 games. Okay, yeah, that's the. Oh, right. This is. I forgot. This is still. Yeah, the last season of the NHL PCHA or NHL. It's a WHL at this point series. Forgot all about that. So Ottawa has won the league championships, 2-game total goal series after beating Montreal, who had beaten Toronto. But we've still got the Stanley Cup series on top of that, starting April 24th. A little late because it takes teams time to get all the way out west. And that is the playoff champion Senators. The Cup tournament is yet to happen yet. I was doing the awards ceremony now instead of after the, well, because that's a tournament, yeah. Only a couple of trophies at this point in the season. They actually named the goalie trophy after Vezina and started awarding it after this year. So Frank Nyber is the MVP and the playoff MVP. Wait, that couldn't be the Conn Smythe Trophy at this point. I might have the years wrong on that. I got to check that. I think that may be coming in too early in historical. Okay, the actual Stanley Cup final. Victoria up 1-0. And should see the winner in the next one, I think. Victoria up 2-1 in the best of 5 series.
AJ Duelist says, on the topic of throwback, what jerseys would you like to be seen thrown back in the most for future outdoor games?
I want the Canucks and Star Wars jerseys. And there we go. The NHL doesn't win the Stanley Cup in 1926. Wasn't this a historical result? I think this was the last time a non-NHL team won it.
Sounds 1926.
I can't remember if it's 26 or like plus or minus a year out of that, but these are the winners, and I think the actual winners back then, the Victoria Cougars.
Yes, that is correct.
League. It's a great trivia question. Vancouver has, Victoria has won a Stanley Cup more recently than Vancouver has. So they had, a pretty good team here. Hap Holmes in goal. One in Buncook, not his brother. It doesn't seem like that. Some reasonable depth there, but I think Ottawa probably should have been able to beat them, but they lose 9-3 in a total goal series.
AJ Duelist,
that's the NHL series. They lose 3-1, I think it was. Yeah, 3-1 in the playoff series. Bit of a downer for the NHL there.
I want to see a complete throwback and have the St. Louis Blues wear the St. Louis Eagles jerseys.
Oh, those things were awful.
It's that's why I want to see them.
Weird grayish white and a bizarre looking eagle. But
Exactly. How would you know? Also, if there was teams that actually, and the NHL would never do this because they want to pretend the league never existed, but I would absolutely love to see the NHL embrace like a WHA time, so you could have like the Minnesota Fighting Saints versus the New York Golden Blades.
yeah, I think that
And
might be like a rights thing with some of the jerseys.
yeah, well, I no, but the NHL doesn't pretends that like that league does not has never existed.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it would be awesome to have some of that stuff.
Okay, so unfortunately, the historic challenge didn't work out. Adam will have to try something different next week. Maybe do another one of these, or could be another interesting one in there. I think there's another. We could, since you're doing the Penguins games, you're going to do the Penguins games. Going to start that after the next update.
Wow,
Maybe.
Overkill ASC is just coming for you. A fitting fate for Vancouver, he says. Wow.
But yeah, you'll maybe do one of the modern Penguins games if one of them works for a single session stream. But I failed at this one clearly. So see if you can do any better next week. Do you want to sign us out there, Adam?
Sure, so thank you very much for tuning in to another Franchise Hockey Manager. We typically stream every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Franchise Hockey Manager, as well as twitch.tv/OOTP Developments. All of our streams are archived on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/OOTP Developments as well, with our archives typically going live Sundays at about 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also reach out to us on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Franchise Hockey Manager. On Twitter, we're at Franchise Hockey. You can find a link to our official Discord in our Twitter bio. And of course, you can come on down to the official website, which is ootpdevelopments.com. Click on the community button in the top right-hand corner, where you can come talk about Franchise Hockey Manager, Out of Park Baseball, Perfect Team Go, or anything else you wish to discuss. Jeff, I don't think I missed anything there.
No, I think we covered pretty much everything there. If you missed it at the very start of the stream, I was saying we had just put out the first hotfix update for FHM 10 last Friday. If you haven't got that yet, you may want to grab it. Should have updated automatically if you're on Steam, or if you got it from the Mac store. Otherwise, you'll have to download that from our website and install it. But that seems to have gone fairly well so far. We got a bunch of new things reported as well, though. So we're going to be doing another update in probably roughly the end, aiming for late next week or early the week after that. Getting up, and that will be the first full real update for FHM 10, and hopefully addressing as many of the things that have been reported as possible. And then the next thing on the schedule after that will be our first content update, probably out roughly, let's just say sometime before Christmas. We try to get it out at least a few days early in case there's any problems. But that will be the first thing that adds new features and content to the game. So that will be coming up. That's the schedule for now, and everything is pretty much on track at this point. So I think we'll be sticking with that. If not, we'll let you know of any changes. But thanks for coming out, and we will be back here next week with Adam's game, whichever, I guess, challenge or whatever we decide to do at that point. So stay tuned on our social media, and he will let you know what he's doing there. Thanks for coming
We're going
out.
all the way back to FHM 2.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that. Okay, thanks everybody, and we'll see you in a week from now.